Good evening, everyone. Let's call this July 11th. Wishful thinking?
I
don't
said
know.
September. That's where you got it from.
Sorry, picking it up.
Wow.
July 11th, City Council meeting to order. Tracy, could we have roll call, please?
Bermel,
Here.
Harrington,
Here.
Sittig,
Here.
Smith,
Here.
Wason.
Here. Thank you. Item 3 is approval of the agenda, and as Ryan mentioned in his memo, we're going to be pulling off 4D and E from the consent agenda, but otherwise everything else is the same.
So move.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 4 is our consent agenda then. Is there anything on here that you want to pull out and talk about separately? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Hold on.
Do we need a motion?
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'll make the motion.
You're moving
We
and shaking.
take a motion. Thank you. We've been moved and seconded.
May I ask who the second was? Thank you. We're ready to vote.
Rough
now.
start. We'll get there, Mayor.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye. All started
Opposed.
with
All right.
September.
Item 5 is our public comment. This is for anyone in the audience that has something to bring to our attention that's not already on the agenda tonight. Oh,
Good evening, everyone. I'm Leslie Alvarez, Director of Operations at the Pantry. Thank you again for the last meeting for thinking of the pantry. But my main reason for being here tonight is to introduce our new Executive Director, Ryan Bopes. So I will let him talk about himself a little bit and answer any questions that you have.
awesome. Thank you.
Thanks, Leslie. So my name's Ryan Bopes, and I wanted to take this opportunity to introduce myself and that I'm excited to be the new executive director at the Community Pantry here in North Liberty. I've got 10 years of nonprofit leadership experience in other communities, and I am an anti-poverty advocate, so I very much align with the mission of the Pantry. I'm also excited to serve as a neighbor, helping neighbors. And we are very appreciative of the City of North Liberty's long-term support and look forward to continuing to strengthen and work with you all in that relationship. Does anybody have any questions for me? Otherwise, that is it. And I will see you around town, and I will be in contact.
Awesome.
Great.
Thanks,
you.
Ryan.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Thanks, guys.
Any other comment out there? All right, guys. Thank you. Oh, and I'll close the public comment time. Item 6 is our engineer report. Please.
Thank you.
Josiah.
Couple updates on a couple of projects that are in construction. City Hall site, on the site, the parking lot is primarily done with the paving. It's not all filled, backfilled and everything, but the paving's done, and a portion of that's been opened early for public use, a section of that lot by Main Street. In the building, I don't have a whole lot new. The same things are occurring inside, the plumbing and electrical and drywall and all those things. Penn Meadows Park, north parking improvements. That one's about to start. We had the pre-construction meeting this afternoon with city staff and the contractor. They're going to get started right away next week. The first big impact you'll see is that they need to close Penn Street as planned to replace some storm sewer and intakes right in front of the park. It's part of the project to get the drainage from the park out there. So starting July 18th, Penn Street will be closed right there in front of the park for about 2 weeks while they get that all done and get the road put back. There'll be a signed detour route and things like that. We're going to work on getting some message boards up this week just to give people that, week of heads up and at least give them a chance to plan for that. Next would be a couple of the projects that are in design phase. Centennial Park is a big one. That design effort continues. There's meetings scheduled for the city staff next week, so it's ongoing. We did meet. This was a follow-up from last week or the last meeting. We met with the DOT's project meeting for the Penn Street Bridge project that they're working on, the new interchange. They have a lot of bid design packages that are coming out. We are working with them on utility relocations and coordinating that because that's what they're working on right now. The construction for that is basically 2024, 2025, and 2026. So it's a long project to replace the bridge and the ramps and do all the utilities and signs and everything. So nothing new there. Just an update. 2 more projects, the Penn Street Railroad crossing improvements. This is the Penn Street Railroad work. We did have a final owner review meeting today with city staff. The design is pretty much set. We did make a decision that we want to encourage more bidders, get the best prices possible, and give the contractor the most flexibility. So instead of trying to bid this right now and get somebody in there quickly, or where we would again have to close that Penn Street corridor during school year, we'll wait, we'll bid it this winter and plan to have it done next summer after school's out. And that should, it should be easier for everybody, and we should get better bids on that. The last one is the streets and maintenance facility interior remodel. That went through the schematic design process, which was successful and got a lot of good decisions, and that's moving into the next phase of design development. So that's all I have, unless there's questions.
You guys have any questions for Josiah?
Ryan, the bridge on Penn, I would assume with that, will that be a big enough project that will trigger some review by fire and PD for mutual aid needs with closures and such?
When we get a little bit closer, yeah. And usually the DOT is pretty good about getting that information out to us in advance, so that, and keeping everybody posted on that schedule.
And really the start, Josiah, wouldn't be till when?
2024 was the first work for like miscellaneous grading and utilities. And I think the bridge is like end of 2024, into 2025.
Thank you.
And are they changing the design of that interchange? Do we know yet?
As far as
You mean it's not going to be a diverging diamond?
Well,
That's what you're
yeah.
asking. Yeah. So basically the intent of the project is to widen the bridge.
Okay, that's it. Okay. And then Penn Meadows, is that going to affect any of the bike routes through the park, or is that farther down the street?
the bike trail will be closed right there by Penn Street at some point because they do need to retie that in. I don't know exactly when it's going to be. I can tell you in general, they're going to focus on all the work on Penn Street first, get it done and out of the way. And I guess I should have mentioned their next approach. The project is going to rehab the existing lot and build a second lot, a new one. So after they get done with the work on Penn Street and the walks and everything, they're going to focus on the new parking lot and leave the old lot alone. Get that done and then sort of flip over to do the old one. So.
Yeah, and the mid-block crossing for the trail is moving slightly to the east of that
Right.
intersection, right? That'll be a much better location.
Yep.
Josiah, the only question I have is about the parking lot there at City Hall. Will any more of it be opened up until till City Hall is ready to be moved into? Does site work need to be done, for example, before that parking lot is more usable than it is now?
That I don't know.
Okay.
I can find out.
I do know that
And
some of that, they want to use some of that lot for their own staging as well.
Mhm.
So that's where it gets a little tricky on what they can open and what they need to keep for their own use around the building.
Okay.
But we have a meeting this week. We can learn more.
And their hesitation is to open something and create the expectation of that additional parking and then have to close it back. So it's maybe better to wait a little bit longer
Yeah.
to open it
Yeah, that
more.
makes sense. Okay. All right. Thanks, Josiah. Ryan.
Yeah, just a couple things on my end here. Just a reminder that Monday, July 17th, there's a joint meeting. Email was sent out asking for any agenda items. I think you still have time to get those to Tracy if you have anything. That will be at the Johnson County Poor Farm starting at 4:30, July 17th. And the other thing I wanted to mention, and you've seen this statistic already, but I thought it bared repeating for the public as well. But this year, between July 1 and July 4th, we had right at 60 calls for service for fireworks complaints. Last year, July 1 through actually the 5th, we had 39 calls. So we saw an increase in calls. We did issue 6 citations this year. If you caught the article in the Gazette, I think right after the 4th, it looked like almost nearly every larger community around us were issuing citations. So we had some complaints from folks that we weren't doing enough. I can assure you we were doing the best we could. The challenge again is you all know, is catching someone in the act or getting someone to testify that they saw someone ignite a firework. So we will continue to educate folks, and hopefully we can limit some of the fireworks displays by the public through that, but we'll also continue enforcement as well. That's what I have tonight.
Thanks, Ryan.
Right, Ryan, sorry, Mayor.
Go ahead. Sorry, I didn't ask.
Can you tell us what some of the damage was? I know there were some juveniles charged with different things, but I didn't know were there grass fires, structure fires or anything?
I can't tell you a whole lot, but there are a couple people in the audience that probably could help us here. I don't know if Brian or Diane want to speak to any of that.
The incidents that we responded to, the only damage that we had was grass fires.
Okay.
There was nothing that we responded to that translated to anything more than that. So I don't know if PD had anything in addition to that. So,
Personal injuries?
yeah, we had one injury and I think 4 or 5 fires.
Any other questions? Okay. A couple of things on my my list as well. Ryan took care of the joint entities meeting that's next Monday. MPO is going to meet here tomorrow night at 4:30. If you are curious about what MPO is, now is your time. A couple of Thursdays ago, our JEXA policy board met. We meet maybe quarterly or so. The biggest thing on that agenda was that Johnson County is going to be one of 3 counties in the state of Iowa that is going to be piloting the 988 hotline and how that's dispatched. So they'll be getting calls from all over the state of Iowa. And this is going to be a pilot program that they'll be helping to understand and provide feedback to the state for the next 3 months. Blues and Barbecue, of course, this weekend was tremendous, and I'm sure those of you that were there will have a few more things to say about that. We had a lot of great volunteers there. We did have Congresswoman Miller Meeks stop by for about 45 minutes or so, which was kind of awesome, and she took in some barbecue along with her husband and got to show around and put a connection to that application that we had submitted or an request for additional funding for the next stage. So she saw in person what we were looking at and why that request came to her. Tracy and Ashley and Eric and I went down to Muscatine on Friday. These guys may have some more tracks to fill in here, but there was that 3D printed home was being constructed down there. Pretty neat project to see. Johnson County is hoping to bring one of those to the Iowa City area possibly next year to complete. And the idea is that it's an option for affordable housing. One of the 2 takeaways that I took from that is that the home can be constructed for about 30% less than other homes because of the way it's constructed and the efficiencies of that. And then it's also incredibly energy efficient as a result. So that's all that I have there. Item 9 is council reports. What kind of things have you guys been up to the last couple of weeks besides Blues and Barbecue?
Blues and barbecue.
Blues and
that's it?
barbecue.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will just say that it was a really great day on Saturday, and appreciate all council support, and many people and staff members volunteered, and especially Nick and Jillian's efforts, Guy and his crew. It's a team effort for a lot of different departments, and I think it's a great event. Unfortunately, we're always going to have people who are not happy with it, as we all saw this morning with the email from the resident, but I hope we can continue it.
I think also just thanking the sponsors. There was a lot of, support throughout the community for this, and actually some of the other projects we've been doing through the summer with the city slate. So that's pretty cool. And I would like to encourage people to download the entire city council packet and look at the end. And then there's a very lengthy and detailed and excellent report from the police department about what's been going on in North Liberty and how they've been really working very hard for training, and as much training as they do. And it's like it's like 2,500 or 2,600 hours just in training every year to train, all the officers and stuff. So a lot of information in there. And then just some good news for the county. Dave Wilson, who's the emergency management coordinator, is one of the 2 people in Iowa that was selected as the advanced emergency management coordinators. So it was one of the first 2 in Iowa to do that. So the other one's Jasper County. So
Anything else?
I did hear some concerns. I actually had some citizens approach me at Blues and say, "We hear you're not going to do it next year because you're building the stage." So there's some apprehension that because of construction that it will hamper the event. So I assured them we will do our best.
How big is your backyard then?
Not that big. I don't. Yeah, the park was almost not big enough
Right.
this year.
It's true, it
Good
was.
problem to have.
It's true, it was.
Problem to have.
Brian, thanks for bringing up that police report end of the year summary. That was a great document. I was really encouraged to see that we finally nabbed the Grinch too, because that was a big deal. So, anything else, you guys?
Just one really quick note. I know we mentioned the staff and the volunteers. Just want to say a quick thank you to the folks that are on the committee for Blues Barbecue. They worked Friday and Saturday night, some of them, and that was not without notice and much appreciation. That's it.
Okay, thank you. Item 10 is our FY24 social service grant funding. We're going to do this in 2 parts, as you saw in Ryan's memo, so we can separate Eric out from this first one. Item A is our resolution number 2023-79. This is a resolution approving the social services fund agreement between the City of North Liberty and the North Liberty Community Pantry, a division of the North Liberty United Methodist Church for fiscal year 24. Could I have a motion for consideration, please?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Do you guys have any questions about this? All right, Tracy, could we have a roll call, please?
Wason,
aye.
Bermal,
Aye.
Harrington,
Aye.
Sittig,
I abstain due to conflict.
Smith.
Aye.
Motion carries. And then item B is resolution number 2023-80. And this is a resolution approving the social services funding agreements between the City of North Liberty and social service providers for fiscal year 24. Could I have a motion for consideration, please?
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any questions or additions to this? Tracy, roll call, please.
Bermal,
Aye.
Sittig,
Aye.
Smith,
Aye.
Wason,
Aye.
Harrington.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you all very much. Item 11 is our parkland purchase, and item A is resolution number 2023-81. And this is a resolution approving the deposit, appraised damages, and pay fees for the North Side Community Park project. Could I have a motion for consideration?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Ryan or Grant, do you have anything you want to?
I wrote the
Chip in here.
blurb, but I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
It's a great blurb. I can't add anything else to it. Does you guys have any questions for Grant or Ryan? All right. You're off the hook, counselor. Tracy, roll call, please.
Harrington,
Aye.
Smith,
Aye.
Wason,
Aye.
Bermal,
Aye.
Sittig.
Aye.
Motion carries. Item 12 is the University of Iowa Hospitals and Clinic Agreement, and this is resolution number 2023-82, a resolution approving the owner's agreement between the City of North Liberty and the University of Iowa Board of Regents. Could I have a motion for consideration, please?
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Do you guys have questions about this one?
Actually, I have one question.
Please.
I work for UI Healthcare. Is that it? But not in this.
You are not
particular-
a member of the Board of Regents, and
So I'm
and
good.
I
Okay.
think you're fine. But
You're not, are you?
Nope.
Okay. In that, Tracy, roll call, please.
Harrington,
Aye.
Bermal,
Aye.
Smith,
Aye.
Wason,
Aye.
Sittig.
Aye.
Motion carries. Item 13 is relocation agreement, and this is resolution number 2023-83, a resolution authorizing an agreement for Brown National Lease to relocate to the city of Cedar Rapids. Could I have a motion for consideration, please?
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. You guys understand this all right and feel just fine about it? Okay.
Ryan, would you, I think those watching, anytime we lose a business, we don't like to see this. Would you just explain what this is about, if you would, for me, please?
Sure. In this case, Brown is looking to relocate to Cedar Rapids. In the packet, there's a letter from from them, basically stating that their client base is further north, and that's where they're going to be able to best serve their clients. Under normal circumstances, we would not even be involved here, but because Cedar Rapids is using tax increment financing dollars to improve the roadway there as a form of incentive to businesses in that area, state code requires the city that the business is currently in to give consent to the other city to offer those incentives. So that's what we're doing here. You might have caught this in the letter, I think, from the developer, but this is a similar agreement that the city of Cedar Rapids actually signed with Anamosa when a business from Cedar Rapids relocated to Anamosa. So.
And right. So, and this company, they're moving anyway.
They are. That's what we were told. Yes.
So
regardless,
because it's just they work on trucks, and
yeah,
their client is much further north. So,
Anything else? All right, Tracy, roll call, please.
Sittig.
Aye.
Harrington.
Aye.
Smith.
Aye.
Wason.
aye.
Bermal.
Aye.
Motion carries. Now, the real reason we're here tonight, item 14, building and fire codes. Item A is public hearing regarding proposed amendments to the building code. Anyone in the audience wishing to make comment about the changes? Seeing no one in the audience from the public, I'll move on to item B. And this is first consideration of ordinance number 2023-20, an ordinance amending chapter 157 of the North Liberty Code of Ordinances, adopting the 2021 International Building Code and modifying qualifying criteria for Board of Appeals. Could I have a motion for consideration tonight?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. You guys have any questions about this?
You just had one quick question. How much does it cost to get a contractor license?
We're not charging anything for those.
All right, so you just have to get it. So
You just have to register with us, so we have contact information. Terrific. Tracy, roll call, please.
Bermal.
Aye.
Smith.
Aye.
Sittig.
Aye.
Wason.
aye.
Harrington.
Aye.
Motion carries. Item C is public hearing regarding proposed amendments to the fire code. Again, opening this public hearing. Seeing no one in the public for this item, I'll close public hearing. Item D is first consideration of ordinance number 2023-13. And this is an ordinance amending the Code of Ordinances of the City of North Liberty, Iowa, adopting the 2021 International Fire Code as revised and expanding the scope of the city's Board of Appeals to include oversight of fire code interpretation. Could I have a motion for consideration?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Could either one of you explain what is changing at the state level from an oversight standpoint? It's mentioned here the scope. It's moving to a different department, I understand, right?
I think I can.
You can do
take
that?
That's,
Okay.
It's for the Board of Appeals.
Okay.
And so, right, the Board of Appeals for fire code typically involves, under the IFC, involves trained fire professionals that have to, and that is pretty hard to get a number of people that are qualified to do that, who are also not also members of our fire department or a related entity. And so what a number of the communities around here do is they use folks that are qualified to do building code to interpret fire code. They're written in much the same way, and they have there's a lot of overlap between folks that understand building code and fire code. And so when we have a Board of Appeals where they're appealing the decision of the fire code official, then the folks that would be hearing those for an appeal of the decision of the building code official will also be able to oversee the hearings for the fire code. We've had none of these in the last 5 years, by the way. This is a very vanishingly rare, but we have to have it happen. I think we just repopulated our Board of Appeals recently. So it's just so we have a means to have that happen without casting a net that we would never be able to fill.
Awesome. Thank you. Tracy, could I have a roll call, please?
Sittig.
Aye.
Bermal.
Aye.
Smith.
Aye.
Harrington.
Aye.
Wason.
Aye.
Motion carries. And then item E is resolution number 2023-84. And this is a resolution approving the City of North Liberty Fire Department fee schedule. Could I have a motion for consideration?
So moved.
Second.
Moved, seconded, and thirded. Any questions about this?
Long overdue. Chief, we appreciate the work. Both of you.
Tracy, roll call, please.
Smith,
Aye.
Sittig,
Aye.
Wason,
Aye.
Harrington,
Aye.
Bermal.
Aye.
Motion carries. Item 15 then is our UTV ordinance, and item A is public hearing regarding amending the city code regarding the use of off-road utility vehicles. Do I have anyone in the audience wishing to make a comment in this ordinance? Seeing none, I'll close public hearing. Item B then is first consideration of ordinance number 2023-21. And this is an ordinance amending Chapter 75 of the North Liberty Code of Ordinances governing the use of off-road utility vehicles. Could I have a motion for consideration, please?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. You guys have any questions about this?
Mayor, I would just make the comment, this is for UTVs, not ATVs. There is a difference. If you're not sure what the difference is, you can certainly look it up or call staff.
Thank you. I'd also remind people that this is the first consideration, and we have two more before it's actually legal to drive these on the road.
But you can't drive them around town yet, as I've seen. No, thanks
Just to
for
clarify, 2 more plus a publication.
right. Application. Yes, thank you, Eric.
And then there is an intentional sunset if this doesn't work.
Yes. All right, Tracy, roll call, please.
Wason,
Aye.
Harrington,
Aye.
Sittig,
Aye.
Smith,
Aye.
Bermal.
Aye.
Motion carries. Item 16 is 425 North Dubuque Street, city-initiated rezoning, and this is our second consideration of ordinance number 2023-18, an ordinance amending the zoning map district designation for certain property located in North Liberty, Iowa, from RM21 multi-residence district to RM12 multi-residence district. Could I have a motion for the second consideration, please?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Do you guys have any additional questions from last time? Tracy, roll call, please.
Sittig,
Aye.
Smith,
Aye.
Harrington,
Aye.
Wason,
Aye.
Bermal.
Aye.
Motion carries. And finally, item 17 is the Hatch property. This is also city-initiated rezoning. This is also the second consideration of ordinance number 2023-19, an ordinance amending the zoning map district designation for certain property located in North Liberty, Iowa, from RM21 multi-residence district to RM12 multi-residence district. Could I have a motion for consideration?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any additional questions or comments on this one?
It's just the one that needs supermajority.
Yeah. And I was a no last time, and I'll vote no again.
I'm sorry. What did Brian you say?
So the
Need 4 of you to vote yes in order
Yeah.
to continue. I'm sorry, I'm not Brian.
Oh, gotcha.
Yes, there was an objection from the property owner, and the objection was based on a future plan for the property that they currently don't have. So the RM12 zoning would align it with its current residential density, which is 3 units. That's why staff has initiated. They objected based on a redevelopment potential that they have no plans for at this time.
Okay. Do you mind me asking what your objection is? I'm just curious.
We had discussion about whether there were any plans for an intermediate density between 12 and 21, and whether this would be something that this owner might be interested in. And I just didn't feel like this was something that we should be initiating at this point if there was an option for that in the future.
But at some point in the future, we could rezone it again.
Yes, and I indicated to the property owner that I'm certainly willing, based on a plan coming forward, to entertain that, and I've entertained plenty of those requests since I've been here.
I just want to say I have no doubt that you would be fair to this person.
Thank you, Eric.
All right, could I have a roll call, please, Tracy?
Smith,
Aye.
Harrington,
Aye.
Wason,
Aye.
Bermal,
Aye.
Sittig.
Nay.
Second consideration will carry as well. Item 18 is old business. Anything left over we haven't talked about yet? Item 19 is new business. Number 20 is a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you very much.
I was wrong.